Well, good evening, boys, girls, and undecideds. This is DK, Mr. V Amps, and we're going to restring a Gibson guitar with the G-Force system on it. So, this being a right-handed guitar, that means that we're looking at the G-Force system upside down. So that isn't going to make a lot of sense. So, let's bang it on the table. That's good for it. They like that. So let's reorient it here, and we'll see the back of the headstock, and I'll show you how to make it unwind the strings. When you want to change the strings on these, you do not need to turn these keys by hand. The machine will do it for you. You just have to know how to tell it to do so. So we'll take care of that. And be right back. Okay, so this view is more for being able to see what we're doing as opposed to it actually being practical. This kind of works if you're sitting with the guitar in the playing position or whatever. But essentially you press the enter button, or you push the on button 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3. And then you press the enter button twice. And then it blinks and does the little red thing. And you just pick a string. We have the highest E string to the lowest E string. And you just use up or down to adjust the pitch of it. So we're just going to hold down on the E here. And I'll feel that's nice and loose. We'll go over to the A and just hold down. If you just hold it down, it should go as far as it needs to go. And there we go. It will automatically stop itself. Let's hold it down all the way. There, it stopped. So if you just keep holding it down, it'll stop on its own. You don't have to worry about it. And then we'll turn our G-Force system off. Just we'll hold the on button for a second. Now all the lights go out, and it's back to being asleep. And we flip the guitar over, and we find that all the strings are very, very floppy. So let's pan over here where we can see that a little bit better. Our strings are all nice and loose, and they're ready to be detached from the headstock. And you can clip them if you like. I prefer to clip them just because I don't like to try to get the bent ends out of the bridge. So we'll do that and come right back in just a second. So, personal preference, I like to cut these. There. So none of the strings really had much tension on them. The one had a little bit, but keep your eyeballs out of the way so they don't fly at you, and the stop bar will want to come off, so you can take that off and lay it aside if you wish. There is no sensors or anything in the stop bar or in the bridge of a G-Force. There is on a first gen or second gen robot. So if you have a first or second gen robot, I do have the video up for the first gen robot. We'll do one for the second gen when that's ready for a new set of strings. Unfortunately for the world of YouTube, I am not somebody who goes through a lot of guitar strings. I just, for whatever reason, don't make them rust like some people do. So, anyway, once we have the strings off of the headstock, we just need to remove the caps. And these are just simple caps. They should spin off with finger pressure. You just take them all the way off and set them aside, and then these little string pieces will want to unwind. Now, if it doesn't want to come when you go to unscrew it, there is a slot in there, and you can put a flat blade screwdriver in there to give yourself a little bit of help. But this particular one, I find, generally holds pretty well. And it seems like I'm able to get all of these off without any fuss. These strings are about a half a year old before they started to sound rough. So they had a good long run. And then these will just pop right off. You can just pull them right out of there. And then we'll toss all of these in the bin before we stab ourselves. Now, this is a perfect opportunity to wipe the dirt off the guitar, put some conditioner on the fretboard, all of that stuff. So I will do that, and then I will come back after I've done that. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in as much as I could. I've got my strings. We're just using stock 11s from Web Strings. Nothing exciting or interesting there. This being an 11, it's going to probably be a little bit thick, and this is going to be the toughest string on the entire guitar to do. On the bass side, we want to, for sure, have the slots at kind of a roughly a 45-degree angle here. And we want to come around the post halfway, so come around the post, and then we need to come up here and then turn the string around. This is the hardest part to do, because you have to bend that string over and then come a half a wrap around the post. Okay, that's the hardest part to do, is the bass side on these guitars. Once you get a half a wrap around the post, you can just put your cap on and snug it down. We'll do one more bass string just for fun. And then we'll give it a clip. Okay, so that's our 11. Now we've got string 5 on here. Should be our A. Under normal circumstances, I do bass string and then treble string. I put them out on the ends. I do the ends first, but for demonstration purposes this is fine because we're not putting tension on these yet. They're still nice and loose. Okay, so we come around, come up through the slot, that little slot, bend the string over, and then loop around like that, and then put the cap on. You can tell what a football fan I'm not, considering the Super Bowl's on right now, and I really don't care. I'd rather practice my music for my upcoming gig. And I'll give that a clip, and that's how we do the bass side. Now, let's follow up and do a treble side. Let's see, which is the thicker of the two treble side strings that I have out. I don't have the 1 out, I have the 2 and the 4. So we'll do the 2 and the 3, excuse me. Yeah, because I've got the 3 and the 2. The 1 and the 4 are still in the package. So we will do the G on the treble side. And the treble side is a little bit more straightforward. On these, we don't have to do the turn. Okay, this just skips the turn. We just want to go around the post, up through the slot, and one loop around the pole above the slot. So let's make sure we actually got through the slot, because it looks like I missed. There we go. Get above the pole, one lap around, and put the cap on. So these things only go maybe a quarter to half a turn around the post, and then they come up through the little slot, and then you wrap around the threaded part of the post at the top. And then we just turn that down. And give it a clip. All there is to it. So it's not too bad once you actually do it. The first time you see this system, I know there's probably a lot of head scratching and a little bit of cursing, but once you do it once or twice, you'll be fine. So one more treble string for fun. I'll put my last 2 on, and we'll pause the camera when I do the last 2 because this is going to get repetitive. But I find this actually, once you learn the procedure, to be easier and less time consuming than changing strings on a traditional guitar.
Just have to be patient with it. Look at the diagrams. There are some very good diagrams that were provided online. And when you put these on, because your headstock is reclined, you want to be careful as to not cross-thread those. So they should spin on very easily, finger tight, until they get close to the bottom, and then they tighten up. So don't force it. Just do this when you have a couple minutes, and you can be patient and take your time, and you should do a good job. Alright, almost done. One more bass string, one more treble string, we'll do that, and then we'll go into string up mode. Okay, so all 6 strings are installed, and they're floppy. They're not snugged at all. So essentially we just reversed the procedure that we did earlier. Just a matter of pressing the enter button 1, 2, 3 times. Or the on button is 3, enter twice, which is the middle of the D-pad here. Click, click. Now we have the red, and it's ready for string up. So instead of pushing down, like we did before, we'll push up, and it will wind tension on the low D string. And you kind of want to feel it. If you pluck it, it'll get excited, so don't pluck it. Because it will go with the string it thinks you're plucking. So I'm just trying to feel it with my finger on the other side here to feel what the tension feels like. And it does stop you because I was feeling the wrong string and I probably got this too tight. So let me drop it just a little bit. And there we go. On to the D. I got my fingers on the D here on the neck so I can feel it. Warm that one up a bit. As soon as it starts to feel snug, we'll take a break. Okay? And we'll go do the G. That one is just starting to come up. Okay, give it a little bit more. That feels not too terrible. B. Probably went a little bit more than I should have. And we'll do the high E. So just till we get some tension on it. Okay. A little bit more. Okay. Feels pretty good. So I'll hold the on button again, turn the system back off, and we have a very not in tune guitar right now. It sounds like it's very not in tune, but we'll just do the standard tuning procedure. I'll just push the on button one time, and then now the guitar is ready to be tuned. I always start from the top down, so we'll do the high E, and it should want to tune that. Or is it not even close? It has to be close in pitch for it to decide what to do. Not sure. Okay. It figured the B out. So now, not sure what string that is. I figured out which one the G is, because I had that at rough tension. Not sure what string that is. It's not sure what the A is. Okay, it figured out which one the E is. There, it figured out the A. So just take your time plucking through the strings. It will figure out which one's which. But because this is not on individual saddles, like the... thinks that... The E is just too low. It's not grasping that one being where it's supposed to be, I don't think. So let's try it again. Let's try all the strings. Let's do the low E first. Okay. It thinks the high E is in. It's confusing itself. So let's actually skip touching the high E till last. B, G, D, A, which these sound all like they're in pitch, and then E. It fidgeted with the high E. There we go. On the second round, it figured out the high E was the string that was not in pitch. Okay, so it does have the guitar back in tune again. We'll run the process one more time. High E, guitar's happy with it. B, okay, and then G, yep, D, oops, D, go, A, and E. When those strings are on there at loose tension and you pluck them one at a time, the guitar is still trying to figure out which string is which. It really has no indication. All it can do is hear vibrations at its headstock. Unlike the Generation 1 and 2 that actually listen down here on the bridge. We're still on the tripod. Why am I even trying this? The G1 and the G2 could listen individually on the bridge, so they knew what string was where. The headstock doesn't have that luxury. So it's got to guess. So if it can't guess what string it is, try the other strings, and eventually by process of elimination it will guess. But it's probably best, at least fastest, to use your ear, and when you're doing the string up mode and winding these up, try to find the rough tension. You get the rough pitch. If you have the rough pitch, guitar will figure it out from there. So effectively all I have to do now is play this for a day and get these strings stretched in a little bit, and it'll be ready for our gig. So that's how we change strings on a Gibson G-Force type guitar. It's actually, I think, a little bit faster than doing it on a traditional guitar once you learn the steps. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Night, day. Great night. Yeah, bye.